Oh, all right. The stream started. It's 5 a.m. somewhere, so that means the garbage collectors are coming to take out the trash. But we won't throw you out.
Welcome to your Trash Pals podcast, coming to you live from the Cum Gutters. This is us hanging out on the gutters of a very well-muscled gentleman and or lady and or non-binary, and it's good to be here on someone's musculature. We are in those gutters, or as some people call them, the iliac ridge or something like that. But everyone just knows them as. And this is
everyone on Earth except for me.
And this is a podcast about comics, art, culture, and whatever little bits of trash we found while picking through the garbage bin. I'm Van Notes.
And I'm Wren. I must have like a terrible connection because like our intro didn't play fully for me, and I was just like sitting here staring blankly into the camera.
It's so good. I love when the internet doesn't work.
Truly, I'm like, please, Mr. Internet, just do your job, which is let me do a podcast.
Please, Al Gore. Please let me, internet.
Please.
Oh no.
I'm gonna make you go first.
Oh, okay.
With your
about
trash.
What trash? Okay, yeah. So what trash I'm consuming? So in the tradition of talking about cum gutters, I have been watching a lot of the incredible television show MILF Manor while drawing, and I'm on season 2. I love these wacky MILFs, and the twist this season is not that it was the MILF sons that were all hanging around. It was sons and dads hanging around with all the MILFs, and I thought that was delightful and way less icky for all the women, because the premise of this show is that the guys should feel shamed and belittled, and not the women. I want the women to have a wonderful time in this strange Canadian mansion. The location has been a little lackluster, I will say. The resort vibe of the first season was much better, but I am almost all the way through. I like to watch it. It's the perfect show to watch while you're drawing, and I am just having a delightful time. And I've gotten to where there's going to be some new women added into the mix, and I'm very excited. I love late arrival cast members because they always get to just stir the pot. So that's my trash. Have you seen MILF Manor?
That's so funny. I saw part of season 1, but then I was watching it with Veronica and some of her friends, and then we could never like schedule time to continue watching it. It was just like really hard. But I'm down to watch it in my lonesome.
You need something to watch now. It's true. You have so much free time now.
Yeah, I'm the foremost scholar in RuPaul's Drag Race, in riggery, in uniqueness. Wait, in charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent, I have the most of it.
You now know. Are you
Some
now
would say
one of those...
I'm the cuntiest of them all.
Oh no, not of them all. Are you now one of those gays that can recite, this is what happened in the Snatch Game of season 5, episode 2-B, Untucked, or... Not at all.
No. Not at all. I have like a memory of like a goldfish, and like every episode kind of blended together. So if I like see an episode, then I will recognize it and be like, oh, this happens or whatever. But if I'm just thinking, then I just have no idea who anybody is, what has happened. I just know my favorites, my little conglomerate of white queens, even though one of them turned out to be evil.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I had to be the one to text you that. I'm sorry one of your cream puffs didn't turn out rotten, went stale.
Yeah, stale. It was for our listeners, it was Trinity the Tuck was being incredibly transphobic. And it sucked because it was between Trinity the Tuck and Pheromone, who I both love. And it like Trinity the Tuck was just being super transphobic to Pheromone's boyfriend, and it sucked. It sucked so much for everybody involved, including me.
You are the most affected.
If anything,
in all of this
suffered
drama.
the most. Yeah.
You're taking it very personally. You would like to have people's respect as you're going through this difficult time. Yes, I can tell. I'm so sorry for Trinity.
Send me flowers or something. I'm in mourning. Me too. I really like Trinity's laugh. It was like, ha! That always made me laugh.
Oh, I'm sorry. All of our heroes they all fall. You see yourself live long enough.
Never meet your heroes. It's true. Even though like I was like, oh, I like Trinity the Tuck, and then like 1 week later, it was like Trinity the Tuck is fucking evil, and I was like, well, all right, okay, that might as well happen.
Honestly, like, I think as far as like drag race controversies of 2024 go, being obnoxiously transphobic is slightly this is a bad poll quote, but being obnoxiously transphobic like several years ago is better than like Stinky Tights Gate, which no one won in Stinky Tights Gate.
What is Stinky Tights Gate?
Or like the whole situation with Eureka and Kimchi. Did you keep on top of that?
What was that? No, I don't like Eureka, so I just kind of ignored her existence.
So this is a very distilled paraphrasing, but essentially it like came out that like Eureka was essentially insinuating that like Kimchi wouldn't let her or them, I can't remember which pronouns Eureka prefers in drag mode, but Eureka asked for like some clothes to like help them get through a gig, and they were on like Eureka and all these queens were on like a big tour, and Eureka asked Kimchi, and Kimchi was like, no, I don't think I'm going to let you like borrow my clothes or whatever. And Eureka made it seem like it was about like Kimchi not thinking she was fat or something, or like internalized fat phobia, when in fact Kimchi came out later and it was just like, Eureka stank and I didn't want my clothes to get stinky. And
That's so funny.
It's just a terrible way to go down in history, I feel.
Oh my god. Like, no, there are no winners here.
Yeah, you're either transphobic or you're stinky.
That's so funny. Truly, those are the two dichotomies.
The two kinds of problematic.
But, transphobic. What's my trash? It's true. I guess we technically talked about my trash anyway. Because I watched every episode of All Stars, every available episode of All Stars, because the current season is still ongoing, and I have to watch those episodes too, because of a pact that I made with the devil. I don't know, because I'm just continuing to watch this stuff. Oh my gosh.
You're locked in.
This season of, I'm truly locked in. This season of All Stars has Angeria, who I like a lot, but I feel like they're making her out to be the season's villain. And then Plastique Tiara, a longtime favorite of mine, is on, and she's doing really well. So I'm really happy.
That's good. I'm glad your faves are coming out on top.
Me too. Yeah, I think that's the only trash that I've been consuming, because that's the only thing I've been watching.
Have you like left Baldur's Gate like in the dust to just be like drag racing 24/7?
I'm taking a break from Baldur's Gate because I can't figure out what I'm supposed to do next. So I was like, I don't want to think that hard, and I'm not going to look up a guide. And also, it involves me sitting at my big computer. So I'm just like taking a break because I want to be on my laptop and be on my bed with my dog. He looks so sad when I sit at my big computer. It's too what?
It's too big of a lift. Too much.
Exactly. I have to get a stool to get on my big computer because I'm so short.
A stool.
And then my dog looks at me with like manipulative eyes because he's just so small on my desk.
Oh, poor Jakey. What is it like being closer in size to Janelle Monáe than me? Which is a fun fact we learned this week, that Janelle Monáe is only 5 foot tall.
She's so little, I say, a littler person.
She seems like a tallie.
But, right? Yeah, I thought she would be like 5'6" or something like that. Is that tall? I don't know.
5'6" is not tall. But I can now see why the nerds were so mad about her potentially being cast as Storm in the X-Men movies, like, reboot. Because they're just like, oh, she's not tall enough. Yeah. She could never be Storm.
That's so funny. As we all know, Storm only has powers when she's very tall.
When she was short, she didn't have that many powers, and then she grew a foot and got more powers.
Exactly. Like it's power per foot. You got powers?
I got, the more I grow, the more powers I get.
What? I have no powers. There was that thing like 2 years ago where like every black person was supposed to get powers, and I didn't get any powers. So, right?
I forgot.
So I got cheaped out on that one.
What was the reason all black folks were getting powers?
I have no idea. I don't remember. I just remember we were supposed to get powers, and we didn't.
Have we talked about...
So, someone's a liar.
It was Joe Biden committed another offense against the black community after currying votes and running out Bernie Sanders. Promised powers.
Yeah. No power. Truly, Mr. Biden, get it together. But he's too busy being like, I saw all this stuff being like, oh, you know, don't vote. He's an old man, yada, yada, yada. And then I saw President Obama's tweet that's like, a bad debate doesn't equal a bad presidency. And I was like, this doesn't equal a great presidency, but he's right. Like, a bad debate doesn't like determine like everything, and people shouldn't be panicking like this, but they are. The youths, or I think like actually a lot of millennials, and I'm like, just shut up. No offense
I was one of them.
Was that when you were one of them?
I was one of them. I was one of the ones freaking out because I actually watched the debate and I had a terrible time. That was another one of my pieces of trash for the week. It was honestly one of the worst political debates I've ever seen in my life.
I'm sure.
And I really want Joe Biden to step aside. He's apparently at Camp David right now doing a family photo shoot with Annie Leibovitz, which is wild to me.
I just like, I'm like, we don't have like another, at least I don't know of it, and I'm not a political pundit or like the most educated on politics, but it feels like we don't have like really another option besides Biden at this current point in time.
Yeah, I think the only thing would be is if there was someone who just like roared onto the scene, had wild charisma, and would like steer away the Democratic Party, but I have no clue who that individual would be. It looks like, as far as from what I've heard from all of my political insiders, is that the Democratic Convention, the only way that they could get someone besides Biden is essentially because so many of the votes have already been tallied from delegates ahead of time, is that Joe Biden would have to actually like step down and like declare that
recuse himself.
Yeah, and it's he doesn't seem in any way, shape, or form like ready to do that, which is a bummer because he's 81, and if I was 81 years old, I would just want to be chilling.
Honestly, I would not want to run the country.
Yeah, I wouldn't have that much time left. I would want to hang out with Jill.
Right, but I get it, because it's like he knows that there's no other option. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of Ruth Bader Ginsburg mentality, though, where it's like, I'm not gonna step aside because they're gonna do something that I don't know if they're gonna do or whatever. But
I feel like it's kind of different because we absolutely know what's gonna happen if Trump becomes president.
Yeah, I don't know. This is gonna be a wacky election. Get ready.
I was talking to my friends today because the Supreme Court was like sided with Donald Trump, and I'm just so politically apathetic at this point, and it makes me really sad because in college I was really active politically, and now I'm like, well, I'm gonna get murdered by a Nazi, so might as well have a coffee. Might as well have some tiramisu.
The one interesting legal loophole that might emerge from this, which I find hilarious, is that Joe Biden could potentially kill Trump in cold blood and not be held liable.
That would be sick. But also, like, I truly am not in the like murder Trump camp because, and I'll tell you why, because he become a martyr, and that sucks.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of friends who are very like murder Trump, and I'm like, then he lives forever.
Yeah.
In their minds.
Yeah, hopefully he just all I can hope for is he just
dementia.
Ends up miserable and dies of poop disease or something. Truly.
I'm begging him to get Alzheimer's. I'm
just
like,
formal request to his brain, like please Donald Trump's brain,
honestly,
start deteriorating.
Honestly, even though like I feel like he's already so like out of touch that I think that he's so out of touch, maybe people wouldn't notice at first, and then it would be too late to do anything. That's my ultimate fantasy.
Well, it has been fun wishing ill on current and former sitting presidents and providing evidence for the Federal Bureau of Investigations that we wish harm upon presidents. Let's dive into our topic this week. It is officially our season finale for our first season of Your Trash Pals. We have crossed the threshold of like 21 episodes or whatever, which means we are officially a successful podcast. That's like, we passed the like crossing line. It's all downhill from here, baby.
So funny.
20 seasons, spin-off podcasts. We're going on tour. We're gonna be in your city, and your city, and your city.
As long as all your cities are redacted, which is where I live.
I'm just gonna bring my like big Bluetooth speaker, my like party speaker for outdoor functions. We're gonna set up in your local city park. And we're just gonna be talking. We're just gonna be doing crowd work the entire time.
Crowd work.
Are you a couple? Are you a couple? I can tell you're a couple. What drives you crazy about one another?
You're so funny. What are we? Radio shock jocks?
I can tell. Your partner must be really into big noses. Look at old ostrich beak here.
That's so funny.
I love crowd work where they're just like, get a look at this guy. Get a look at this straight guy.
He sure is straight, and he sure is a guy, as far as we know.
Yeah, you gotta target him. You gotta make sure you don't pick the wrong straight guy who's not actually guy.
Right. I have a friend. I have two friends actually, and they're in a relationship, and they're both bi but opposite genders. So it looks like they're a straight couple. For some reason, that's like very funny to me. I'm like, you guys are undercover.
Get a load of these buys. Bunch of buys here.
Exactly.
Bunch of buy dens. A den of buys.
A den of buys. I can't believe that Joe Biden is just a bunch of bi people in a trench coat.
Bunch of old bi people.
And they're very small.
Very wrinkly. But now that we've crossed this threshold, we, for the listeners, we will be taking a recording break for the month of July. I'm going to be going on a little family vacay and have a bunch of big projects to wrap up. And so it's just not super convenient to record in July. But we'll be back in August with an episode of Garbage Barge. And we are going to mix it up with a new cast. Tempest, of course, is hanging around because Wren's going to stay on the call. But after our first Garbage Barge episode, we were like, we want to do this with more friends. So we're going to mix up our cast. And then after that, it's going to be a free-for-all of our pals joining us on the first Monday of the month. All just garbage barging and doing mafia activities.
Mafia activities?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Crimes.
You're all part of the orc mafia now. So you joined up.
Oh yeah, you're right. I was like the orc army for some reason, but it is the orc mafia.
Yeah, it kind of became more of a mafia.
My 9 to 12-year-old Tempest is like with a Tommy gun, I guess. What are mafia things? A fedora?
Bootlegging. Doing a lot of bootlegging.
Exactly.
Gun malls and dames. You get to say the word dame more.
Dame. So funny. I like in my head I'm like do a New York accent, but in my heart it says do a New York accent, but in my head it says you don't know how. You like don't do it because you don't know how. And I'm siding with my brain because it's right. I don't know how. Despite living in New York for like 7 years, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, despite living in a location that has a Carvel's or whatever.
Carvel.
But Carvel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I discovered? This is very not East Coast of me. Is I forgot that there's just I hate the word or the like food group that's just spaghetti with vodka sauce because it sounds so nasty to me.
It's so good. You're so funny. It's so good.
I've never had it before, but it just sounds like someone's pouring a bottle of vodka over the spaghetti.
It's kind of like a rose sauce.
A rose sauce.
Like a pink sauce.
So I guess this is what I need to do now. This is part of my hero's journey. Is I need to get some spaghetti with vodka sauce.
Yes. Get some penne with vodka sauce. I feel like that is better. Or some bucatini, ideally. Ideally, bucatini.
Ideally, bucatini. But we wanted to... Both of us were a little groggy today. We both just took naps. And what are we able to talk about without thinking at all? We're able to talk about comic books. Because we love comics.
We do.
Love them.
We do.
And so I have a question for you. I don't think I've ever asked this, so I'm thrilled. This is a deep question. What was your first comic?
My first comic was an X-Men. What is it? X-Men 92 or something like that. One of those comics, but I don't know.
I think I remember this now.
Yeah, I found it in my uncle's stuff when I was a little kid, and he was like, "Get out of there!" But I was like, "Who is this? What's this?" You can, and I think I was maybe like 9 or 8 or 9, and I was always getting in trouble in school for drawing, and I was like, whoa, you're legally allowed to like do this, to draw for and make comics for money as a thing? That's crazy. That's what I want to do. And then look at me now.
You're allowed to just draw naked people and put spandex on them.
It's true. I remember Storm had some bazongas on her.
Bazongas?
Yeah.
Wait, can you remember like what the issue was like vaguely about?
No, but I remember, what the fuck? I'm like so bad at names, but what is her name in the yellow coat?
Jubilee.
Yeah, Jubilee. She was my favorite. But I think it was her origin or something like that. She was heavily featured.
Oh, okay. Now I'm curious. Wait, did you? So like, do you know that 92 was the issue number?
No, it was something like, I don't know. Oh, but okay. It's something maybe in the 90s.
Gotcha.
I'm not sure. I just know. Huh?
Oh, I was just like, it's either like your uncle really should have been pissed off and told you to get away from his comics because like X-Men 92 would be pretty darn rare. But if Jubilee's in it, then it was fine. You could have roughed that one up.
So funny. It's one of the two. I don't really remember. I was like really young. And also I was in my grandma's basement because my grandma used to be a professional bowler. And I was putting like away her bowling ball or something like that. And I don't know, man. And I just dropped some family lore. But I was putting something away from her, probably a bowling ball. And I was in the basement, and his room was like on the way to the basement. And so he had like a box of comics, and I was like, ooh, what's this? But I didn't want to be down there very long because, like, you know those like grasshopper spiders? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Those are grasshopper spiders.
Hold on, let me look it up.
Those are, one's an insect, one's an arachnid.
I don't know what it's called a spider cricket.
Oh.
Yeah, there was a bunch of those in the basement, and I was scared of them. As I am still scared of bugs to this very day.
We talked about your moth problem.
Yeah, okay. There's been a moth in my room for 2 to 3 days, and I have literally barely slept because I'm scared of it touching me in my sleep. And also because this morning I was sleeping with my leg out, and it flew past my leg, and it almost touched me. I was so scared. I don't like bugs. I don't like them at all. I don't like butterflies either. Get those fucking things away from me. I hate them.
I told you, I was like, if I was worried about moths, I would never sleep because there's constantly moths like floating around. So
that's so scary. I don't know how you do it.
I just like, and I guess they're not the hugest ones. There are like huge moths, but like where I would be like, oh boy, mostly they're just loud. So the big ones, so that it is hard to sleep.
There was this story on Reddit. How do I get rid of this? It wasn't how do I get rid of this. Oh, look at this. Or they were like, I live with a bunch of like wolf spiders in my bed. Like we have an infestation of wolf spiders. And everyone was like, why do you sleep with them? Like, what? Get an exterminator. And then they were like, no. Like, you know, and then they posted pictures, and their room was literally covered in wolf spiders. It was so scary. And they were like absolutely cool with this. So I think about that a lot.
So
I think about a lot of Reddit stories a lot.
Don't go in too deep in the Reddit mines. That's so funny. So I'm trying to think other comics related questions because I did not prepare for this, but I did prepare for bug talk.
We can talk some bugs. I have a lot of bug-based stories.
I don't want to talk bugs. It's the truth.
I came with bugs and nothing else. But no, let's talk comics. What have you been most recently reading?
Oh, most recently reading, I am on another Alan Moore kick. I just read Miracle Man for the first time, which is a really influential, like it was the story he did that pretty much everyone who lived in the UK ripped off. And then they repackaged it for like Americans. And they were like, this is totally me. I'm so original. And like everyone was like, wait a minute. You're just ripping off Alan Moore. But everyone in the US was like, okay, cool. Y'all are so original. And so yeah, and it was kind of this lost masterpiece because the copyright was a mess, because the original character was named Marvel Man, and then Marvel Comics was like, no, you can't have Marvel guy. And then he was Miracle Man, and the rights got like tangled up in court. And so Neil Gaiman was like fighting with Todd McFarlane or something. And it was just a hot mess. So, but Marvel finally bought the rights like outright. And I think they thought Miracle Man was going to be this like huge success for them. But they don't know how to package graphic novels at all. And so they've totally bungled their ownership of it. And they should have just put out like a Watchmen like collection and really hyped that, but they didn't do that. So it's now kind of a weirdly lost masterpiece again, except the lost is that people just don't care that much.
That's funny. That's so interesting. The Watchmen thing reminded me, the second comic I ever read in my life was Watchmen. When I was 14, my religion teacher got it for me, and she was so sweet, so sweet. She got it for me because I mentioned I like comics, and she was like, this is a really important comic. Like, I really enjoyed it. And I read it, and because I was 14, I was like, what the fuck is this about? Like, I'm so confused. I don't know what's going on. What's this naked blue guy? He's kind of hot, but I don't know what's happening. But I just told her I really liked it.
Watchmen is one of my favorite graphic novels to teach. It's so fun because people get wildly different things out of it. So it's really easy to have discussions. And I also like giving multiple prompts for like every essay so that I don't get bored while I'm like grading student essays and stuff. And I really love it when I provide them 3 options, and one of them is for them to justify the owl essay in the back of one of the chapters, which a lot of people really hate the owl essay. And I'm always like, find a way to justify this essay's like inclusion, or like don't. And they never pick the owl essay. Like they
really,
yeah, they will not take that prompt, which I find hilarious.
That is very funny. I haven't reread it recently, but I read it again in college, and I really was like, sorry, my mom is calling me, but I will call her back later. No, mom, podcast only. So
I'm talking about comics with my friends on the internet.
Yeah, gosh, mom, you just don't understand. She probably wouldn't either. And that's not true, because she asked to watch an episode, and in that episode I said cunt like 14 times. So I didn't let her watch it.
I can't believe it.
What can I say?
Sending listeners away.
Yeah, I've got a potty mouth, and I'm not afraid to use it to keep my mom from watching this podcast.
Don't tell people not to listen to our podcasts. Truly.
I don't want my sweet little mom to be exposed to such vulgar language. She's Southern. She's from South Carolina. She's too sweet. She's too much of a Southern belle. Oh yeah, we need to bring on, I don't know, I'm like Braun again, but she curses too.
A wholesome, we'll do a special episode, the wholesome episode,
there you
where
go.
it's just kind words.
flowers and friendship.
No, going back to Watchmen, I think it's so funny to just hand a kid Watchmen. I really like that move on the part of them.
She was great. Sure, like, she was really great.
Were you reading just like some manga and Garfield before that, or
no? I hadn't read anything since that X-Men comic, because my uncle was like, "These are mine, fuck off," and then he was like in his like mid-20s, so he didn't want some like kid like in his stuff. And so then I hadn't read another comic because it just, my household wasn't like conducive to comics being art at first. It wasn't until I went to college that they were like, oh, graphic novels and yada yada. So it's just not something I ever got into. And I was also a bully in elementary school, so I was too busy being like, comic books are for nerds and geek, rep, or something like that. I distinctly remember bullying someone for reading Peach Girl, and then later I read Peach Girl and was like, oh no. Peach Girl is actually one of my favorite comics. I have a collection of Peach Girl comics because they're so important to me. But I read Peach Girl, and there's a scene where her bullies like set her hair on fire and push her into the pool, and I'm like, oh shit, like I'm doing that to people emotionally, or I was, because I read it in high school. So that's a very long way of saying that Watchmen was my second comic I've ever read.
That is so funny. I love that you are essentially the character from the first Pidgey graphic novel, who's a bully that bullied the protagonist as a young person, which is also hilarious because the fans ended up shipping that character with the main character because they were like, girl on girl bullying, now that's sapphic.
In a way, like, wow. I think the girl I bullied, I didn't like her, but there was another girl I liked that I like kindly bullied, like gently, whatever, because I was also busy having the longest crush in history on this guy, like the longest crush anybody has ever had. It was like 10 years. It's too much.
There's no time for sapphic-ness. I must crush.
Pretty much. Have you ever read Peach Girl?
Is it a manga? Let me look.
Yeah, it's a manga.
What Peach Girl is? Oh, this is cute.
I love Peach Girl. I'm a Peach Girl fanatic.
This is so cute. Is this character a person of color, or obviously like they're all Japanese, but
yeah. She just tans because she's on the swim team, so she's always tan.
Oh, gotcha. I can see like how that would add a layer of, like, I don't know, connection there.
Yeah, I definitely thought she was black for a very long time until they got to the swim team thing, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm too deep in to, like, not read it. So when I was reading that, I was also reading Guru Panchan, which is about this girl who turns into a dog, or it's about this dog who turns into a girl and has all these people who have a crush on her, but she's just a dog. Like, she's like a dog in a human body, and she's doing dog stuff. It's very funny.
The art for this one is a little much for me.
Yeah, I used to trace both of them.
Oh, that's fun. So, like, did you have like any kind of comics like online or in-person community like before you got to college?
No. I didn't even know what shipping was when I got to college.
I mean, honestly, that's for the best.
Like, yeah, I still don't really understand fan fiction. I have like a vague idea, but I've only read like one or two fan fiction things, and both times one was really interesting. The other time it was like for edification. I was like, how do I objectify men? And so I read a fan fiction.
Wait, Break that down for me. What was your thought process into like going and reading this fan fiction? Like, what did you want to gain?
So in my light novel, there's this like scene where the main character is like ogling this guy, and I wrote like I don't know. I wrote I don't know. My friend Sylvia, who's like basically like looking over everything, was like, just read some fan fiction and then you'll learn. Like you'll pick up some stuff on how to objectify men. Because I was like, I don't know. Oh, men are, I'm attracted to men, but I have no idea.
Wait. I just want to like point of clarity. You said you had like a 10-year long crush and you don't know how to like ogle men
because it was different. I don't know how to describe it. I'm just a little weirdo. It's because my crush on him was like in my youth, so I really didn't like have any concept, and I was also like fucking a bunch of girls, so I had like a lot of focus on that, and I still had a crush on this guy, but it took a backseat to, slam and puss, as they say.
This is a wild character arc.
I'm just a little guy.
I don't know how to follow up on that. I don't know if I would. I get where Sylvia's coming from, but I also don't know if that's the best advice I've ever heard.
I mean, I learned some stuff, like his ripped abs glistened in the sunlight, and etc. So I'm basically a scholar in male objectification.
So like, are you actually saying like your problem is that you like men too much for their personalities? Like,
yes, I guess. I mean, I guess, yeah. All the one man I've ever dated, I was into him for his personality, not his body. Even though it did help that he was like 6'3". That was helpful. But he was cute. I don't know. Yeah.
So funny. I was just asking because like when I was like coming up as a weird little youth, I was on this forum called 10 Ton Studios, which was all these like 30, 40, 50-year-old guys all just like drawing superheroes together in these like weekly challenges. And like little baby me started as a 14-year-old, like coming on and just drawing these poorly done like superheroes, and them clearly being like, oh, we have a child in our midst. But me being like, wow, I'm so cool. I'm hanging out with all these adult, real cartoonists. And it was super fun. But my mom, whenever she's like talking about how kids can be on the internet, like talking to strangers, I'll just be like, I was a 15-year-old talking to like 40-year-old men like every day. Like,
that's so funny.
You never raised a red flag for you.
That's so adorable that you were just like, oh, I'm so cool. Like, I'm with the older kids, except they were like full grown fucking adults.
Which, hanging out with weirdo comic book men has definitely been an ongoing theme in my life. Lately, we've been doing these comic creator meetups here, the second Saturday of the month here, at a comic book store in the Treasure Valley called the Collector's Outpost. And those have been super fun, but it is just nice hanging out with a bunch of comic book people and everyone just looking at their sketch pads and not making eye contact and talking about all their favorite cartoonists.
I miss that. I need to get into the scene in Boston. Whatever, I'll edit that out. and wherever I live, whoa.
I never know where you live.
Yeah, look, it's a secret to even me. I don't know where I live.
Are there even comic book stores there?
There's like chain ones. I'm sure there are small ones. I just don't know where they are. There's this thing called Newberry Comics up here.
The idea of a chain comic book store is wild to me.
Yeah, right? When I first came up to this area, to New England, I was like shocked. But it's like a mix between like, I don't know, like it's like a regular comic book shop with some like Hot Topic thrown in there.
You gotta have a Hot Topic. You gotta have those alternative revenue streams, as they say in business.
I wish there was a Kinokuniya there, because that's like my favorite comic book shop, but they're only in, I think, New York and New Jersey.
I gotta come out and say, hey, take me to the local comic book shop and show me the superheroes.
So
show me your finest superheroes.
Your finest superheroes. I feel like I'm such a weeb now. I've been reading Nana, and that has like really been influencing me in being a weeb. In a non weird way, just in a like I appreciate manga kind of way.
What is this one? It's Ai Yazawa. Okay.
I used to see it on the back of Peach Girl books, and I was like, what is this? This looks edgy.
I love comics. Did she have an episode of Monben recently?
Oh, did she?
I think she did. Let me double check, but I think she did just have an episode of Monben.
Okay, I'll have to watch it. Nana is so funny because the backgrounds are like just like a photo of a car run through like a black and white filter, and then like the drawings of them in front. It's so funny to me. But I'm reading it. I'm reading the hell out of it.
Good. Comics are good. I keep telling you about Tokyo these days.
Yeah, I need to read that.
Yeah, and I reread Tech on Kincrete. I don't know if I talked about that on the podcast, but that was a really good time.
Yeah.
I remember reading it in college, and I think it was one of those things where I was like roughly the same age as the creator when he did it. And so I had this like more dismissive attitude, I feel like, where it was like, I don't get why this is so important. This is just something a 25-year-old made or whatever. And I'm 23 and I could make a comic like this or whatever. Mm-hmm. And now I'm 30 and I'm like, I couldn't make a comic like that. I was full of beans.
Yeah. So funny. I feel that way a lot about a lot of comics, even my friends' comics and work, that I'm like, there's no way I could make this. But I think that is interesting in its own way because, like, the things that you make, they can't make either.
Yeah. I always tell people whenever someone's like, how do you be successful in comics? And it's like, you just make a cat comic and you post it on Instagram every day and you'll be successful.
Yeah.
Like, that is the formula. Like, if I wanted to be a rich and famous comic book man, I would do that. But I don't want to post a cat comic on Instagram every day. Like,
plus, it's so hard to keep that up.
Yeah. Oh, it's like a total grind.
Yeah. When I was posting my like little emotional comics every day, not only did that make me feel shittier, but it was exhausting. And now I try to post like once a month. I do really want to get back to doing it weekly, but I don't have that much to talk about now that I'm like on fucking lithium.
I'm glad you're mentally healthy.
Like, yeah, me too.
That's a good thing. It is hard when you're like, as far as mental health in comics, when like certain mental health like behaviors or like coping or like negative coping mechanisms are what leads to certain levels of productivity, and they aren't good for you in the long term, but like short term they can be like very like helpful in just producing a shit ton of comics. I think that's something, if you're a young cartoonist with like a mental illness, that's like a weird hurdle you have to like come to terms with. But I'm glad I am in a better mental health state and not where I was when I was able to like chug out comics as a youth.
It's just not healthy.
I'm working on a 12-pager right now. And that's a lot.
That's good. I was gonna say I'm trying to chug out like a 50-pager by November, but I'm also writing my light novel, so I'm like, oh man, that's gonna suck when I have to do it. That's gonna suck so hard.
You have enough of those like little emotional diary comics. You could easily have a collection.
Yeah, I want to do that, but if I get this whole table at Cala, then I'm like, what the fuck else am I gonna put out? So I'm trying to have like my little sexy comic as well. That's my collected collection. And then this light novel, and then some like prints.
Love it. Love it. Comic conventions are so goofy.
I know. I haven't been to one since like 2016. I'm so excited.
That's so wild to me.
The last one I went to was where we met in person.
Yeah. Cons are just so invigorating to me. Like, they're also so weird to me. Like, there was a stretch where I like was going to like multiple conventions and they all felt like they were getting weirder than the last one. Mm-hmm. I was just like, please, I just want a normal comic convention where it's just normal. I don't need it to be weird and interesting and quirky. I just want a normal comic convention.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about the time my dad came to see me at a comic convention?
No.
So it was at what's it called? The one that we had gone to and met, but I'm forgetting what it's called. In Maryland.
SPX?
Yeah, SPX. I'm pretty sure it was that same he refused to pay to come in because he was like, I'm just coming to see my daughter and then I'm leaving. And they were like, okay. And then he asked me if any of these people know how to throw a football. And then he saw a furry and was like, what the hell is that? And then left.
So he like, how long was he there? Like
5 minutes.
He was there. I mean, he really was right. It's not like he was freeloading the con or whatever.
Exactly,
exactly. Like, he was just in and out. He made his digs, and then he got out.
Exactly. He was like, this is a place for losers, and fucked out of there.
I really don't know if SPX is like less loser or more loser than the average comic convention.
Because I feel like it's more for like cartoonists than like a artist alley convention where there's a bunch of other stuff happening.
But isn't that kind of worse to be a sensitive cartoonist?
I don't know. Truly, I have no idea. But I was so shocked that Furry was there, and then I was like, "Why is this happening? Why did they decide to come in fursuit on this day in front of my father?"
I think there was Homestucks there that year still. Wasn't there? Wasn't there some Homestucks?
I don't know. I wouldn't know if I saw them. I never read Homestuck.
I mean, they're gray trolls with brightly colored horns.
If I wouldn't know what that was, so I would just assume they were cosplaying for something else.
Wait, you don't know what a Homestuck looks like?
At the time, I didn't, but I do know.
Okay. They're so gray. Like, that gray paint gets on everything.
That's so funny. They have like astrological signs or something like that.
Did
you ever read, speaking of webcomics, did you ever read You Plus Me Dream?
No. Let me do a little search here.
Yeah.
You Plus Me Dream comic. Oh, this is a webtoon.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a webtoon at the time. It was a webcomic. Okay. It was this really like interesting webcomic where like when you dream of people as actually like actors in the dream world, and it was so good when I read it. But the only webcomics I knew about at the time was that one. What was it? Erica Moen's like diary. And then Dr. McNinja. Just really running the gambit.
Yeah, that is a wide gambit of whatever happened to the Dr. McNinja guy. Now I'm doing a little side search here. Oh, he's doing middle grade graphic novels and Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, good for him. I had a crush on Dr. McNinja because I was a little weirdo.
I love Dr. McNinja. I was real. Oh, he did some Gwenpool too. Well, cool. Good. I'm glad he's some Red Sonja. I'm glad he's just chugging along. I really glad when internet famous people do okay. Mm-hmm. This You and Me dream is very oh gosh, I can't see her name. It's off to the Ozaki. What's her first name? It's
wait, I think Pink. It might be the wrong thing. The website is down.
No, I found the webtoon.
It's by It's not a webtoon. It's by Rose Solarian.
Yeah. It looks like it's all on webtoon now.
Oh, really?
Bunch of it's on webtoon. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like River's Edge, man. Oh, Kyoko Okazaki. That's it. It looks a lot like that manga. It's pretty clearly like that person was super into that mangaka.
So, cool beans.
Cool beans. Comics are so cool. What would you say is your favorite comic book ever?
I gotta think. Oh, Sunday in the Park with Boys.
Oh, that's
by Jane Mai.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I was obsessed with Jane Mai in college.
That's a deep cut now.
Yeah.
Such refined taste.
I wrote a whole paper on her, and she asked to see it, and I was so embarrassed I never sent it to her.
I don't know if I'd have the same reaction to a college student writing a paper on me. I would be like, I do not want to read what you have to say about me, young youth.
She was so nice about it. So nice. And when I met her a couple times in person, and she remembered me and was so nice.
Did you interview her too as part of the paper? Or?
Yeah, I interviewed her as part of the paper. But like by email. What about you?
Remember did you have the comics or art school assignment where it's like email an artist and ask them to answer interview questions for you?
Yeah, that was the assignment.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I'm trying to remember.
Rob Liefeld. I love that guy.
No, it wasn't. I was a closeted Rob Liefeld fan in college. I had to go into the closet because it was really not cool. It's still not cool, but every time I go into the Facebook group, I'm like, this is not a cool place to be. No, I think I did. I think I emailed someone and they were just like, yeah, you can look up interviews with me and then just reverse engineer your paper from that. And then if your teacher asks, then I'll sign off on it.
That's so funny. I'm like, isn't that illegal?
It was, which honestly, it was a busy person. Of course, they were just like, yeah, I know. Buzz off, kid, but I want to be nice to you. So, yeah.
That's nice.
Let's see. My favorite comic I should answer before we wrap up here today is, that's hard.
Right? Yeah.
I would say, I'm just looking at my shelves right now. I think cumulatively, it would probably be Pluto by Naoki Urasawa. That's probably up there. That's up there enough today, and it's within eyesight that's probably
okay.
But I feel wishy-washy on it as I'm saying it.
Well, this is kind of easier. What's your second favorite?
Second favorite. I'd say, as far as writers, I think Alan Moore is pretty high up top there. And And then let me look around the old shelves real fast.
You're so funny. I think about Jane My work all the time, and another one I really liked was called Blumpkin Spice Latte. I thought that was so funny. Jane My stuff.
Yeah, it's probably like, and it's hard because some series are so long, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
JoJo would be up there. Good. Lone Wolf and Cub would be up there. There's a bunch of like really good superhero comics, bunch of Jack Kirby comics, but Pluto's pretty good. Master Keaton has like a really good ending too.
Yeah. So it's a hard question to answer. I kind of picked from my like rotating list of favorites.
Especially when you have great taste like we do.
You're so funny. Yeah. We're the pinnacle of taste. We're comic sommeliers.
I feel like I have diverse enough taste that if a like youth came up to me and was like, what comic should I read, I could be able to provide them a pretty decent selection of like, I think you'll be into this.
I believe it. You have good suggestion taste, even with books.
I try to like, the one thing is I think some people who like recommend stuff, they just recommend everything that they like and they don't take the person's taste into consideration. Mm-hmm. And you really have to be like, it's not my taste that I have to cater to. It's like the other person. So you don't want to give them. Like I just try to give you like sad, horny books. Because I know
that's my brand.
I know you'll be into them. Mm-hmm. Oh, my dog's lapping up a bunch of water. If you hear just like some slurping in the background.
Funny. Little doggy.
Just slurp. Well, good comics talk. And thank you everyone for all your support this first season of the podcast. While we're on our little break, just go start playing our episodes on mute. Just play them on mute and let them run. Just let them run and rack up those views so we can come back and we can start marketing vitamins and supplements and loot crates. Mattresses, maybe a Helix mattress ad one day. I need a new mattress, so I wouldn't mind buying to get a Helix mattress ad. But thank you for listening to Your Trash Pals. You should follow the podcast if you're just listening here on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all those places. When we return, we will again be still on Mondays because it's a very convenient day for us. And episodes we'll be so rested and well adjusted when we get back that episodes will go up on Fridays.
I pray. I apologize to our dear listeners. I just straight up forgot last week, so it'll be up. It'll be up by the time this is up.
I was just so tickled pink because I got my episode description done before Wren even asked me. And I was just sitting just like, wow, I'm such a good boy. I did my job.
You did a great job. You did. Anyway, you can follow me at ren.psd and VanNotes on Instagram at VanNotesBooks. You can also support our Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/yourtrashpals.
And during the break, the plan is that we will start having some more little incentive-y things out there, like shout outs on the pod and all that fun stuff when we're back in action for supporting us. In the meantime, you can write into the podcast at yourtrashpals@gmail.com. You can ask us all kinds of questions, and we would love to have a bank of them to come back and answer on the pod. And this week, it is definitely Wren's turn for a fake ad. So, Renjamin, pick a number in between 1 and 50.
My little brain, 69. We'll do 42, because that's almost 420.
We are proudly sponsored by The Walking Dead.
You're so funny. So, a preface, I'm so scared of zombies. If there was a zombie apocalypse, nah, nope. Guillotine for me immediately. Immediately. I'm not interested in a zombie apocalypse. But if there was one, I sure hope it would be like The Walking Dead. It is a comic series as well as a show on AMC, and that a lot of people watch and a lot of people watch and enjoy. And also, I'm pretty sure has like a mobile game that I get ads for all the time. That's really shitty, but the show and the comic are good. They're good, good, good. A lot of people watch them. At some point, it was kind of like the Game of Thrones of shows. So you know it's good if it had that big of a following. I'm very bad at these ads, but yeah, that's just fucking watch it. What can I say?
I love that your advertisement is a lot of people watch. That is getting on the bandwagon. That's one of the like core advertising methods is yeah.
I'm not good at advertisements.
Just everybody likes it. You should too.
Exactly. Follow the herd. Don't be a free thinker.
Well, again, thank you, everybody. And remember, as we are away to reduce, reuse, and recycle.